If you are still farming units the old way, you are leaving billions on the table. Scrapping Sentinel interceptors for $500 million per hour? Building massive stasis device farms for a couple billion a day? Optimizing your scanner to squeeze a few billion per hour with scan reward boosting foods? That was fine. Until now. Because the Remnant update quietly introduced something that changes the entire unit's meta. 5 billion units per hour. Fully legit, no glitches, no exploits, no ultra-rare upgrades required. And the craziest part? You don't need a complicated setup or days of prep. All you need is the ability to craft and sell iron blades. Simple components, simple loop, ridiculous returns. In this video I will show you exactly how it works, why it scales so efficiently, and how to turn it into the fastest money making method currently possible in No Man's Sky. So let's make it rain units! A few months ago in my Iron Corvette build video I predicted this could become one of the top money making methods in the game. When Iron modules were first introduced as exclusive rewards for Expedition 20 Breach, some of them showed high vendor prices but sold for 0 units. At the time I assumed that was intentional, a quiet safety lock from Hello Games to prevent the economy from imploding. Apparently, it wasn't. In the Remnant 6.2 patch notes, under Corvette fixes, one small line changed everything. Iron modules not rewarding units when sold was a bug. Once that bug was fixed, the entire economy balance shifted. This isn't theory crafting, this isn't spreadsheet fantasy math. 5 billion per hour is a realistic baseline with a clean, scalable setup. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build and optimize it while avoiding bottlenecks. All prices, calculations and testing in this video were done on normal difficulty with default settings. Survival and permadeath will differ due to stack limitations. Now let's break it down. When exclusive Iron Corvette modules are unlocked from Expedition Breach rewards, they become craftable indefinitely using basic materials. That means unlimited copies. If you missed the Breach Expedition, there is still a path. Since Iron parts are craftable, they can be shared between players. It's not guaranteed you will find someone willing to share them aboard the Space Anomaly, but it's a viable option. Important note, these craftable Iron modules cannot be traded for advanced modules at the Corvette Workshop terminal. There are 9 Iron modules total, only 3 sell for 1.4 million units each. Out of those, Iron Blade is the clear winner. Why? Unlike Wings of Iron and Iron Drive, it doesn't require rare salvage glass. Its core materials are pagnium, platinum and metal plating. All accessible, all scalable. Everything in this method revolves around one word – pagnium. Platinum is flexible, metal plating is trivial, pagnium is the limiter. It's sold in limited quantities. It cannot be extracted from hidden deposits. It's primarily drops from destroyed sentinels. This single constraint is what keeps the method at around 5 billion per hour. If pagnium were extractable like silver or gold, this would completely shred the economy. So let's talk acquisition. Platinum can be mined from crystalline asteroids found in caves or refined. The most efficient common method is refining silver and gold together. Silver can be mined from asteroids, minerals and caves, purchased from terminals and NPC pilots, refined from our materials and most importantly, extracted from hidden deposits and farmed passively. Gold can be mined from asteroids, rare metal finger deposits, minerals, exotic biome deposits, purchased from terminals or NPC pilots, refined and extracted passively from hidden deposits in exotic biomes. Now, pagnium. It can be purchased from some trade terminals in limited stacks. Stack replenishes slowly over in-game time, so if you rotate between multiple systems selling pagnium, you can build supply. But there is a faster, more reliable way. Refining Atlantidium. It refines at 1:2 ratio. 1 Atlantidium becomes 2 pagnium. That conversion rate is excellent. Atlantidium can be acquired on dissonant worlds by killing corrupted sentinels, looting harmonic chem wheelbarrows or mining living fragments. Now, with all that in mind, we built the money-making machine. I tested multiple approaches. The beauty of this method is flexibility. You can tailor it to your playstyle. Efficiency matters, but fun matters more. We are not here to turn this into a second job, right? Metal plating is the easiest part. In Delphi systems and PC pilots at space stations sell it in bulk up to around 200 per transaction. With a fully upgraded 120 slot cargo ship or a freighter with doubled stack capacity, storage is manageable. If you craft as you buy, space becomes irrelevant. Platinum requires automation. The most efficient way is setting up fully automated resource extraction farms to harvest silver and gold while you are offline or doing other things in the game. Yes, this setup requires some time investment, but once it's done, it ensures a limitless daily supply of both resources needed to refine platinum. If you are new and don't know how to set up automated farms, I have a complete guide that walks you through the entire process, including how to find hidden deposits and energy hotspots to power everything properly. Just keep in mind that gold deposits are found in exotic biomes, while silver can be found almost anywhere. Once built, it becomes fully passive income. Log in, collect the harvested resources, refine, done. For Pagnium, I tested two different methods, Sentinel farming and Atlantidium mining, because looting wheelbarrows at Harmonic camps is not a reliable approach. First, Sentinel farming. Engage Sentinels, destroy everything except the summoner drone, the triangle-shaped unit. As long as it lives, it keeps spawning armored and repaired drones. Infinite farm. Destroyed drones drop 15 to 30 Pagnium, and armored drones also occasionally drop green barrels containing salvaged glass. In my testing, 10 minutes of non-stop drone elimination yielded around 2000 Pagnium and 40 salvaged glass. Salvaged glass can be used to obtain forbidden exosuit modules for exosuit upgrades or forbidden multitool modules for boltcaster upgrades, or it can be used to craft wings of Aaron worth 1.4 million units each for additional profit. The maximum amount you can earn in a single transaction is capped at around 2.1 billion units due to programming limitations. If you go over this limit, the price display shows a negative value. You will still receive roughly 2.1 billion units, but anything above that cap will be lost. So be careful. Reaching that cap would require roughly 1500 Aaron blades or 22,500 Pagnium. This with combat method, 1 hour realistically gives around 12,000 Pagnium. That's over a billion units per hour if you enjoy combat, plus hundreds of salvaged glass for upgrades or wings of Aaron crafting. But it won't hit 5 billion. Mining Atlantidium on distant planets is the key. The most efficient way to maximize Atlantidium yields is by mining small and large living fragments using a Sentinel or Atlantid multitools. These have the fastest mining speed in the game due to their unique high-powered mining technologies. The hijacker laser for the Sentinel tool and the runic lens for the Atlantid tool nearly triple mining speed. Optical drill increases resource yield by 50%, and placing it in a supercharged slot boosts that yield to 88%. While mining purple crystals for Atlantidium, you can also harvest radiant shards, which refine into nanites for additional profit. Alternatively, you can use the Minotaur exocraft, your starship, by shooting living fragments from the air, or even the Colossus with the new excavation blade, which allows harvesting small crystals simply by driving through terrain. However, results vary significantly. Mining large living fragments with a multitool yields around 40 to 50 Atlantidium, increasing to 45 to 57 with a supercharged optical drill. The Minotaur grants 20 to 25 per fragment, but its upgraded mining laser is extremely fast, even faster than the strongest multitool. Starship weapons destroy large living fragments, but yield only 4 to 5 Atlantidium and cannot destroy radiant shards. The Colossus excavation blade can destroy only small crystals. Large living fragments must be mined with its mining laser, yielding 20 to 25 Atlantidium per fragment, similar to the Minotaur. In my testing, harvesting living fragments with an Atlantid multitool for 10 minutes yielded 5000 Atlantidium and 40 radiant shards, worth 2000 nanites when refined. That scales to 30,000 Atlantidium and 240 radiant shards per hour, worth around 12,000 nanites. Refining 30,000 Atlantidium produces 60,000 Pagnium, enough to craft 4,000 Aaron blades worth 5.6 billion units. Not bad for a single hour of mining especially considering the bonus nanites, right? But it gets even better. If your main goal is maximizing units, you can skip radiant shards entirely and focus primarily on living fragments. Using the jetpack tank boost from Perpetual Ice Cream, I managed to harvest 7000 Atlantidium in just 10 minutes. That scales to 32,000 per hour, which refines into 84,000 Pagnium, pushing profits well beyond the average 5 billion units per hour. Yes, this is officially massive. And now let's put everything together to build the most efficient and consistent strategy for reaching that 5 billion units per hour. So, to make 5 billion units, you will need to craft around 3600 iron blades. That requires 54,000 Pagnium, 108,000 Platinum and 7200 metal plating. The question is, how do you reliably gather this amount of resources to hit that 5 billion jackpot? First, you will need to set up at least 4 automated extraction farms, harvesting silver and gold in the background from different deposits. 2 aren't enough, because adding more extractors to a single hotspot won't produce the required 108,000 resources per day due to diminishing returns. Alternatively, you can set up 2 separate extraction networks on the same deposit, effectively bypassing diminishing returns and doubling the yield from a single location, an approach I explain in my Ultimate Mastery Guide. This allows you to reduce the number of extraction farms to just 2. Setting this up may take several hours even with experience, but the key point is it's a one-time investment. Once completed, it only takes a few minutes daily to collect resources and load refiners to process silver and gold into platinum. Refining platinum takes around 16 minutes per cycle, producing around 4000 platinum per refiner. To process everything in one pass, you would need around 27 refiners. Freighters make this easy with unlimited power. Patch 6.24 addresses refiner wipe issues, which hopefully stabilizes this process. But you don't have to refine everything at once, just let it run in the background. As for Pagnium, we've already confirmed that mining Atlantidium and refining it is the fastest method. Each refining cycle takes just 4 minutes, meaning you would need around 14 refiners to process the full 54,000 Pagnium at once, though you can also let the refiners run in the background while focusing on our activities. Once everything is refined, move all materials to your execute inventory and head to a Wealthy Star System space station to purchase metal plating in bulk from landed NPC pilots. On average, pilots sell between 100 and 180 metal plating per transaction. To reach 7200 metal plating, you will realistically need 40 to 70 purchases, averaging around 55 transactions, which is easily achievable within an hour, even faster if you use a save load method to respawn pilots and refresh their inventories. If you prefer not to use save load, simply rotate between wealthy systems, buying metal plating and crafting iron blades in your inventory while waiting for the next pilot to land. This keeps the inventory clear and optimizes efficiency. Interesting observation: while different pilots sell different quantities, their inventory amount remain consistent after each reload. So the optimal strategy is to find a system where pilots consistently sell higher quantities of metal plating. Trade outposts won't help here. Pilots there don't sell metal plating. Now a reality check. Crafting 3600 iron blades means 3600 clicks. However, this can be done in well under an hour, especially if you craft while purchasing metal plating between pilot arrivals. To maximize speed, adjust your settings. By default, the hold for important option in controls adds a delay to crafting, buying and selling. Switch it to always instant so all UI actions become immediate, allowing single-click crafting and trading. When selling iron blades, unlike stasis devices or fusion igniters, you don't need to search for optimal sell indexes. Iron blades always show 0% price index. If a local price drops after bulk selling, simply switch systems. The price index resets daily. If you were to buy all ingredients directly from vendors, one iron blade costs roughly 25,000 units per piece, making this an extremely profitable craft regardless of approach. And here is the best part: you can store iron blades in storage containers in stacks of 100 and keep them for later use. use. This allows bypassing the 4.3 billion unit wallet cap by holding value in crafted items. Fully upgrading a starship or multi-tool in 2026 can cost well over 10 billion units, so this method offers both flexibility and long-term scalability. And that's it. This is how you can reliably generate 5 billion units per hour, or even more, if you choose to push it. But the real beauty of this strategy is that it's flexible. You can scale it up or down and craft as much as you want entirely on your terms. This might actually be the most important part of the video, because it gives a full picture of the pros and cons of the new method compared to our top money makers in No Man's Sky. Our two largest money makers are creature scanning with extra fluffy cream cake injected into a nutrient ingester, which provides a massive fauna scan reward bonus as described in my Ultimate Mastery Guide. The second is crafting and selling stasis devices or fusion igniters. Many videos promise insane profits with creature scanning, but they often skip the realities. Hitting the theoretical maximum requires extremely rare, near-perfect upgrades, which take a lot of time to obtain, and even then, creature scan values vary widely. Some planets offer a few high-value scans, while others provide none, and species count per planet affects income speed. Travel, landing, scanning, and exploration all take time even from a corvette. In an ideal setup, this method can yield around 3 billion units per hour, but realistically, most players will earn significantly less. It also requires investing time gathering and processing all the foods needed to create the extra fluffy cream cakes. The upside is that once you reach that level, you can scan as much as you want without extra limitations unless you run out of cakes and ingredients. The downside is the 4.3 billion unit cap, meaning you need to spend units before continuing to scan and cannot store a money reserve for later like with stasis devices or iron blades. Crafting stasis devices or fusion igniters can realistically earn up to 2 billion units per day, but it requires a large time-demanding setup with multiple farms across different biomes to gather necessary materials, which can take days or weeks for most players. The biggest advantage is that it bypasses the 4.3 billion unit cap by storing crafted devices in storage containers. Each stack of 20 stasis devices holds a total value of 312 million units per slot, making it the most efficient value per slot storage method if space is limited, compared to iron blades at 140 million units per slot. But the setup is massive. Multi-biome farms, long refinement chains, over 2300 clicks to craft 100 devices worth 1.5 billion units. Iron blades sit in a different category. Faster per hour than scanning, less setup than stasis devices, flexible playstyle integration, stockpile potential bypassing the units cap. Downsides: manual mining for Atlantidium, bulk purchasing metal plating, 3600 clicks per 5 billion cycle, and of course access to Iron Blade itself. However, comparing units per click, Iron Blades are more than twice as efficient as stasis devices, meaning less clicking and less annoyance. None of these top methods are perfect. That's why I didn't title this the best way to earn units. It's one of the strongest, not the only one, and that's one of the greatest strengths of this game. There is no single correct way to dominate the economy. When I first discovered this, I thought it would completely shatter the balance of the game. After testing, I realized something important. It's powerful, yes, but it requires active gameplay and rewards effort. It doesn't replace everything else overnight. For many players, it may replace stasis device or fusion igniters farming. For others, scanning remains king. For some, mixing methods will be optimal. The biggest question is fairness. Players who missed Expedition Breach may feel locked out. Maybe that's intentional. A reward structure designed to encourage expedition participation. Or maybe it's simply a good example of how in a sandbox game the economy naturally evolves around player discoveries. New updates introduce new features and sometimes will shift the balance in unexpected ways. And just to let you know, anything that can be placed into a refiner can unfortunately be duplicated in this game, so be aware of the duplication wizards lurking around the space anomaly, sharing hundreds of duped iron blades among players. But what matters is this: you now have a fully legitimate, scalable 5 billion per hour money engine. Use it wisely. Let me know in the comments how this changes your endgame. Will you switch, mix methods, or stick to your current money-making strategy? Thanks for watching, earn smart, adapt fast, Uda Looper out. See you in the next one.